What up, YouTube? Topaz Yates back for another album review, and this one is to that Drake, the Certified Lover Boy. But before we jump into the album review, first I got to give you context. First I got to show you exactly why I feel this way leading into this album for what I expect out of this. But if you feel as though you know everything there is to know about Drake, feel free to fast forward to this point here. But who is Drake? Drake is a Canadian rapper who is maybe the most notable of all the musicians in the commercial industry, and not just rap, all the commercial industry. As he came up in the game under Lil Wayne, under his Young Money, Cash Money imprint, but he's been on his own after he dropped Scorpion back in 2018. Yet since then, the only thing of notoriety that he dropped was the Dog Lane demo tapes, and that I found to be largely unimpressive. But can't deny the Tootsie Slide impact, but it was more of just a compilation of all of his known styles, and when you begin to become predictable, say it with me, that's when people begin to lose interest. Now, to be real with you, man, I feel as though Drake has been on a decline for a bunch of his projects. Even though, Views and Scorpion, they had some songs up on there, some songs that's still on my playlist that I still enjoy to this day. But none of these projects are anywhere near the caliber of my favorite album, which was Thank Me Later with. That was a consistent piece of music that I feel as though was easily his best piece to this day. My personal top 3 songs from Drake ever would be 1, Best I Ever Had, 2, Back to Back, and then that 3 slot, I would say there's a tie in there for a bunch of songs. I'll even add in some more recent joints on there too, like that 8 out of 10, or even go back in time and do that over track. But overall, Best I Ever Had and Back to Back, easily his best works that he has done to date, and I don't think he's ever going to top those. Now, in recent news, they're saying that the Certified Lover Boy is going to break the mold, and I'm all for that because I am getting tired of all the same songs. Like, he's doing his super sensitive tracks, which I've never been a huge fan of. He's been doing his variation of grime music, which I'm not a fan of that either. Then he's been doing his trap style, not a fan of that, as the potency of his bars have been in the decline as well. Yet, I got high hopes for this. Hopefully this will break the mold. He will bring in some new styles. How likely is that? Not very likely. This album could be the definite point where we realize, okay, Drake's downfall is finally becoming a reality that everybody been wanting to have, and it's going to happen more because he's lost interest and he's not putting in enough work, or he's not putting out the quality music like he used to, instead of him being destroyed by these other acts that have been beefing with him. But we gonna see, hopefully, because he's already delayed it back to 2 o'clock in the morning, meaning that it's going to be a long night. And finally, I bring you the Certified Lover Boy review. Now, to answer my question is, if this album was going to be the key sign that this is the downfall of Drake, the answer is a resounding no. Drake is still on top. Drake is still dominating. Drake is still releasing a lot of really good music. As the Certified Lover Boy at least starts out like a 90s hip-hop R&B Drake album to a degree. And you know who else did that? At least did it extensively for a bunch of projects? Tory Lanez. Yes, the guy who only got put on in the game because he decided he was going to emulate what Drake was doing. I find it ironic that Drake was able to take what Tory Lanez was trying to do with the later Chick Tapes versions, where he was doing nothing but paying homage to 90s themes, and none of those were any good. I find it ironic that Drake took that concept and actually made it into something that could be a top 5 album. And given all the moves that Tory Lanez has done over his time period of being in the game, I ain't even mad at it. But the thing is, that's not the entirety of this project. See, it starts out like that, but when you start adding in the features to a bunch of these songs, then it evolves the sound, because these features, they ultimately come into this with their own sound that they're trying to add to these particular tracks. So therefore, the music had to evolve to be able to incorporate them. And then this project goes from a timepiece to pretty much bringing you the music of the future. And that's when this project really gets dope. I will say this project is a bit on the long side, something that I've told people for a very long time. Like, you always want people to be hungry for more. You don't want to just flood them with. I personally would have cut this down to 10 tracks, and that would be including any skits or anything like that to increase the quality of the project to be a full-fledged, flushed out, dope project through and through. But I'm not mad at it because even the projects that I wasn't very big on, they all had some moments in there that was rather interesting. But let's go ahead and look at my favorite songs off this project, because like that's pretty much all the time that I got on this, because there's a bunch of these, starting with Poppy's Home, where this has that Charlie Wilson 90s hip-hop R&B like vibe, where the concept of this is him announcing his return and the view of the game that he sees as he's been kind of away because his last legitimate album was 2018. So he's giving you his point of view on what he sees that's going on out there, on top of having a no verse but Nicki feature on it, in which that sucks. Like, how you gonna be in the booth and lay something down for a Drake album and it's not a verse? Like, come on, fam. My next favorite song was Fair Trade, and I don't believe that this one is going to stand the test of time for me, but I did like a bunch of elements of it, starting with that concept. Fair trade is, in order for me to increase my peace, to ultimately not be stressed out as much, I'm going to have to chill out on all these people that surround me, all of these friends that aren't really my friends. I'm going to have to step away from that. And this is something that all people who reach a certain level of celebrity end up getting to, and this is why it's very difficult for you to reach these people, why you need to go through the middle management in order to have a chance to conversate with them, and a lot of that ends up being scams. But that's why that happens so much in life. They're so used to people being backstabbing, so used to people not really being their friends, just being there for the money and all that stuff, that they end up closing themselves off. My next favorite song would be that No Friends in the Industry, as this is a light tap, but this is somewhat of the Kanye diss that I was sensing was coming, as it's reminiscent of the Charged Up that you remember that Drake dropped before he dropped back to back. Like, he hits you with something light, but he's only doing that to prepare you for the left that's about to be the KO punch. Where this one though in particular is a lot better than Charged Up. Like, I like the vibe of that production. I like how he's taking the whole 3 6 Mafia style, the original 3 6 Mafia, to the club of 3 6 Mafia, and bringing it to 2021. Overall a solid joint, but please believe me, this isn't over. And my next favorite song was that Race My Mind, and I will say that this is my favorite track of the whole project. I just love the entire vibe of it, and the whole concept of it was pretty cool too. He wants her to race his mind in order for her to get home. What that means is his mind is racing about what she's doing out there in them streets, who she's with. He's honestly stressing himself out because of that, and he's hoping that she's trying to get home just as fast as his mind is racing about all the things that she could be doing. And my last favorite song is that You Only Live Twice with Rick Ross on it. Well, there's no core concept here. They really just spitting on top of some solid production, and if you gonna do that, you usually want to get Rick Ross because he's not going to stay on top of no topic anyway. But that came off pretty dope. But as I said, man, even the songs that weren't my favorites actually had some pretty good moments, like that Love All with Jay-Z up on it, where this whole concept is talking about, you know, betraying and people who are wishing your downfall and how they as individuals deal with this. And Jay-Z's verse is actually pretty fire. It's not the flow that I would have recommended for that beat, but once you begin to break down what he's saying, you be like, oh, okay. Alright, this one was pretty dope. But you know we can't finish this review without talking about the bars. See, Drake reminds me of the Eye of the Dragon vodka. Eye of the Dragon is an imported drink that's a luxury brand that got gold flakes in it, legitimate gold that's in it that you can drink. Not only do they deliver on the key presentation, but also on the potency, as well as it being super smooth, as this has been distilled 5 times, as it's super overpriced as well, where it's $25,000 a shot, $3.5 million for a fifth. And on this project, Drake doesn't disappoint. How he's saying, like Shakari, I smoke 'em on and off the track. See, I'm pulling all my people out the mud like I'm training Marines. Saying how he was down to give y'all credit, but now he's holding the payment. Overall, man, this project was worth the wait. Definitely enjoyed this joint, man. Not top to bottom, but yet you find a lot of quality music that's within here, and even on the songs, as I said, that were not amazing, they all had something in there that was definitely worth listening to. So therefore, I'm giving this project an 8 out of 10, definitely a top 5 contender. Go ahead and peep that joint on out.